And we're live. Hello and welcome to episode 196 of HEX Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin. We've actually got a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about whether HEX is dead. Seems like clickbait, but here we are at very low prices. So I'm going to cover that topic and more. This is going to be a good one. Hit the like and subscribe button. Share this out. You're in the right place. The 196th week in a row, Thursday night, HEX Therapy Live. Welcome. All right. Is HEX dead? Well, the answer might surprise you. So here we go. We have a story. We have a Medium article from January 14th, 2020. I've put this in dark mode to protect the eyes of the innocent. So what does it say here? It says, HEX was pronounced dead on January 14th, 2020. And I went and I looked at what the price was. I don't know if dark mode is going to work. Yep, there it is. What was the price of HEX on January 14th, 2020? That was, what do we have here? Day 43. Hey, we have somebody in our community named Day 43 OG. Well, that was the day he got in, was the day that this person on Medium, Meredith Laugren, said that HEX was dead. That was when HEX was at 0.0001. And as you'll recall, being a fan of HEX history, it was, I believe, in between day 33 and 34 that HEX had its all-time low of all time, which was half of what it was on day 43. So it was 0.00005. All right, so if HEX has been dead since day 43 at 1,000th, what is that? Is that 1,000th of a, I think that's 1,000th of a penny. Well, it's 0.0001 of a dollar, right? So if it's been dead, then what were we doing in the next year, in November of 2021, when the price got up to 55 cents? I don't remember exactly which day it was. We'll find it here. Yeah, here's a day, 662, 47 cents. Okay, so if HEX went all the way up to 55 cents at one point and like stayed there for, well, it stayed in the 40s and 50s for a lot of days. Okay, so after HEX was declared dead, it went 5,500x to 55 cents the next year. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So where does that put us today? Well, today we are at day 1,731 and the price is 0.001 on the EHEX side. On the PX side, it's about half a cent. So combined about half a cent to 0.6 of a cent. Okay, so we are 60 times higher than we were when HEX was declared dead. Yeah, that sounds right, because HEX is about 100x up from its all-time low. And the article calling HEX dead, that was written when HEX was about 2x above, or like 1x above the all-time low. So there you go. A really fun, fun history for you, especially if you're day 43 OG, or if you're getting in now. Hey, you're getting in at a price that is about 100 times cheaper than the all-time high. And yet people will complain and they'll cry and they will FUD their own bags. And I will probably do some of that tonight. All right. Just because that's the thing to do. So, but we need to like get the perspective right, that that's where we're at. We're 100x up from the bottom and we're 100x down from the top. So kind of in the middle right now. Oh, here's a really good banger I just tweeted right before I got on stream. It says, it's a picture of a broken window. Like, oh no, what happened? And it says, stay safe out there, everyone. I had 10,000 HEX in my vehicle. Someone broke the window and left 1 million more. Yeah. All right. Well, at least 6 people have a good humor. There you go. Good stuff, eh? All right. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else in this article. I was really just trying to steal a good thumbnail for Is HEX Dead, because I'm seriously asking, is HEX dead? And yeah, I ran into this article, but I guess it's not dead if people were buying the all-time low, or even 100x higher than the all-time low now. That's So what else? What other evidence do we have out there as to whether HEX is dead or not? Well, I conducted a poll today and I asked people, I said, can HEX ever reach a new all-time high? And we had 602 votes so far. If you haven't voted yet, get your vote in, because the audience can't make up their minds. Let me drop the tweet here. Everything looks different because I'm on dark mode. Let me turn dark mode off. There we go. My Twitter's still dark. Here we go. There, I just dropped the poll in there for anybody who wants to make their vote count. All right. 70% of people said yes, HEX can ever reach a new all-time high. That is surprisingly bullish, which makes me wonder if we're going to go down another 100x or not. Anything is possible. 30% of people said never. So, yeah. Well, and I did block a couple hundred people who were being unhelpful online. So, maybe the numbers would be closer to 50-50 there. We'll see. But Lazy Hexagon is thinking maybe now is a good time to buy HEX. Well, for me, not financial advice, I have spent the day selling things. Like, I'm selling a car. I'm selling a collection of $100 trillion bills that I have from Zimbabwe. It's actually the highest printed currency ever. I bought it in 2020. I really wish that instead of buying that, I had bought more Ethereum or Bitcoin or HEX and then sold the top like a good boy. But no, I had to time lock and delay gratification for many years. So there you go. We're gonna talk bribes with Fast Abdul here. Mr. Solano bought 300 PX today so far. There you go. Surprisingly, a lot of people who bought the top of HEX or anywhere near the top, you might have enough Ethereum dust left in your wallet. You might have 0.001 Ethereum in your wallet that wasn't enough to even do a transaction back in 2021. And you could double your HEX back just with the dust that you had. Imagine that. So I've been going through on a lot of old wallets and collecting the dust and deploying it because, yeah, I'm not going to cash out $5. So I'm putting that $5 to work on the Ethereum chain, on the Pulse chain, both sides of the equation. I'm taking the dust. What? So if you had $10 to spend on HEX today and you had bought the top, you could buy almost 100 times. Actually, it'd be just around 100 times as much HEX for the same price, but we're trying to compare it to like the dust that you have. So let's say you have $10 of dust. That would be $1,000 worth of HEX at the all-time highs you could buy now for $10. That's how zeros work. That's quick math for you all, right? So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of cool. So if you know anybody who's crying because they bought the top, tell them to double down with their dust, and boom, maybe now their break-even point is way better. So yeah, I mean, if you only bought $1,000 in the first place, boom, you can double your bag with $10 if you bought at the top and you buy again now. And why not load up on both sides? Why not get the EHEX and the PHEX if we're comparing the two? Because even though EHEX is dead and I don't believe in it as hard as the Pulse chain version, hey, out of the $10, it's only going to take up like 3 of the dollars. So there you go. Okay, so what else do we know? Oh, another cool thing you can do with your dust is to buy Deci, DECI, which is the Maximus Decimus contract that's a 10-year stake that is comprised of HEX T shares. Well, that is also at a discount compared to Liquid HEX. And so I did this the other day. I swapped a little bit of Liquid PHEX, $10 worth, into Deci. And why is that cool? Because you can buy a T-share for cheaper, way cheaper than a native stake. And so, lots of people cry like, oh, we like native staking, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. Do native staking, whatever. But if you're playing around with your dust and trying to make it go farther, do you want to buy the 10%, 20%, 50% discount in Liquid T-shares? Do you want to buy Deci with your $10, or do you want to buy PHEX with your $10? I'm taking Deci. And if I find any little amounts of PHEX anywhere, whether I bought it at the top or the bottom, like, all right, let's go. Because there's going to be plenty of liquidity for your little $10 purchase in my best guess. Like, no guarantees. I'm not the one providing it, but, we've even seen some of the Maximus DAO stuff go into premium territory. So imagine that. But right now it's trading at like, you get like 1.6 HEX for each Deci if you value it based on what's been accrued so far. So I'm giving away all the sauce. There you go. Instead of crying, why don't you see there's an opportunity? Hey, look at me. I'm selling a car. Look at me. I'm selling my currency collection. Like, boom. And I might even sell it cheap because I want to get the deals done. I want to make the buys happen. And, haven't decided yet if I'm completely going down with the ship. Feels like I am. If Wrecked Rackham is trying to buy another island and he's going to keep dumping on our heads, let's go. Let's see how much we can take. Let's get this thing down 99.99% and then see who believes, right? Me, I've been doing shows every week for 196 weeks. I've never missed one. I've never missed a Tuesday or a Thursday. So, good luck shaking me out. But yeah, I mean, the question is how much, you know, how much do you want to sacrifice to buy at these insanely low prices? I mean, I think PulseX is now, Pulse is now hitting the all-time low it's ever been, 0.00033. Pulse X is not all the way as low as it's been, but it's also down considerably. It's down 85% since the not even like the launch top, but the top in March, the SAC rate top, which was and we're down 90, almost 90% from the all-time high of PulseX, which was 150% of SAC rate. The price of PulseX is 0.000016. And Ink is sitting at $1.60 right now. Also not at its all-time low, but down 85% since its top in March, local top. So, hey, can we go lower? Yeah, we can always go lower as long as Rackham and, all these other whales that dump on our heads, as long as they're waking up and choosing violence in the morning, dumping on our heads, yep, it's going to happen. The price will keep going lower and lower and lower until finally the last person capitulates. I can tell you that HEX and Pulse Chain and PulseX and Ink are not going to zero because I will buy them myself at 0.00000000000 whatever. But hey, I can't get it up to SAC rate myself. That's where other people might come in. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's EHEX. Look, there's Deci that's also at a discount. So don't sell yourself short there, the Mr. Max 5 zeros. Desi is alive and well on both chains. So I don't know. If HEX was dead when it was 10 times lower than it is now, back on day 43, well, I would probably say HEX is dead today. I would say that, except for the fact that we have more YouTubers that are unpaid, volunteers, people who care about this so much that they volunteer, people who survived in 99% down. That doesn't seem dead to me. Johnny Chaos is still tweeting more than ever. He's still going on shows. If we look around at all the HEX YouTubers, we're not down 99% on them. Still got What the HEX show. Still got Corey Geary streaming, Crypto 7. You still got Hexologist and Crypto Coffee streaming. Miguel, Dollar Cost Crypto. Charlie from Cultivate Crypto. You still got KDP tweeting away. You still got everybody who's watching here, everybody who streams with me on Tuesday nights. Shout out to you. Did I already say What the HEX show? You still got Discourse Syndicate going. You still got the 369 tour and conference that's coming up. So the community's not dead. And so I don't know. Are we going to go lower? Let's wait and see. But a lot of people are feeling really tapped out. A lot of people are ready to give up. And that's how it goes. For me, I've been also going through all my old wallets. I've been in crypto for 7.5 years, 8. I've been in crypto for a long ass time. So I have a lot of wallets and I'm just collecting all the dust. I'm going back and double checking all the 200 different cards I have with seed phrases written on them. You know, maybe I'll get lucky, right? I did just recover the first ETH I ever bought, which I had to sign an offline transaction to be able to do. So that was kind of cool from a technical perspective. But hey, there you go. HEX, I don't know. If I don't know. I don't know I don't know what to say. I feel like it's dead. I also feel like it's not dead. Maybe I'll do another poll. Yeah, but the dust, that's where it's at, because, you know, if you already lost $1,000 on HEX, what's $10 more that's already sitting there in crypto? You know, there you go. People aren't seeing the opportunity in front of them. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Bottom signals coming soon. Keep your eyes open. Yeah, look, Inc is still what, up 3x or 4x from its all-time low. So, you know, this whole theory of going down to test the bottom for a second time, you know, the dip can keep dipping. I hate to say, but yeah, people feel like buying some HEX now. Cool. Let me be your bottom indicator, I guess, because I've already deployed everything I'm willing to lose, and now we get to play the game of willing to lose more. Right? That's always fun. There you go. And DCA, you know, that's the good stuff. Yeah, selling anything you don't need. That's where it's at. Yeah. But it's like, you know, do I need my prized collection of $100 trillion bills from Zimbabwe? Kind of. I kind of do. But hey, I got a buyer lined up, and we're negotiating. So, you know, what can you do? Appreciate you, Maddie. Appreciate you. T-Laws Fitness. What else? What else do we have here? So we reviewed the all-time high, the all-time low. In terms of PHEX, if you're like starting the price over with PHEX, we are at an all-time low. Yeah, and I agree with this comment. It's better to have the dumpers out at these prices than 100x from here, says Mr. Max. I don't really think the sellers ever stop. I think the ratio between sellers and buyers changes, just my opinion. Yep. Do I need to fix my perpetual blown head gaskets? Nah. Well, don't mess around with car safety. I can tell you that much. Yeah, and we're very happy that the community was able to save Kareem from 12 years of prison, and I think he should be coming home today or tomorrow. So, thank you to everybody who pitched in there. Yeah, the people will call everybody who's buying these lows. They'll call us foolish today, and then tomorrow they'll call us lucky. Keep hodling, Pulse Chain Gain, says Digital Money Marcus. Shout out to you. Let's see here. Okay. What else? There's been a lot of like news that's not quite right. Like a bunch of stuff we hear, like Charles Hoskinson is missing for 5 days. And then it's like, no, he's fine. And then like the founder of Telegram is getting rescued by the UAE, and they cut off a $10 billion contract to France. That got fact checked too, and that's not true. So that's kind of weird. But like, I want all of those things. Well, no, I want the founder of Telegram to get freed, and I want France to pay for it. But I like Charles Hoskinson enough for him to not disappear. Let me see what else do we have here in the news. Yeah, so don't believe everything you hear out there. Always fact check. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Yeah, someone got socially engineered to make a fake investment in something. So I think they like sent the funds to a well-organized group of criminals that was pretending to be an investment group. So definitely stay safe out there. I have a link in the description below for you to buy a Trezor. And I highly recommend that. It's what I use, because if you just use MetaMask without a Trezor, there is a virus that can come on your computer and steal all your money and like guess your password. So like it's not secure if you don't have a hardware wallet. Like if you have a wallet that's touching the internet, like all of you do, it better be on a Trezor or a similar hardware device. So like if you're securing more than $1,000 of crypto at these prices, I would highly recommend you spend whatever it is, $60, $70 to get a hardware wallet directly from the company with my link in the description below. Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It supports the channel. Lets me buy another $5 of a Pulse or Hex. I almost said Hex chain. We don't have that yet. Mr. Max, I'm bullish on all RH products and Mattycoin. I also DCA every paycheck, selling old vehicles, etc. Hey, we're in the same club there. Cool. Well, there is an update today on Matty token. So I've released a tweet that includes the instructions for. Let me make sure I get here. I'm just gonna pull it up because I put effort in. The instructions to mint Matty from Pulse Chain on ETH. Freedom to sign sacrificers only. And we actually, I saw it in the Twitter notifications as we've been live here. I saw somebody ran into a gas error. And that seems weird, but it's something I've run into myself. And I can tell you, there's a tiny little button where you can, in MetaMask, where it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little button where you can change the gas limit. And if you change the gas limit to 300,000, you'll be able to run the transaction without it pretending like it's going to cost you $250. We're not exactly sure why it's throwing that error, other than there might be some other contracts that are weird out there. But the transaction goes through just fine as long as you, even if you do not change the gas limit. This is actually how the blockchain operates, is like if the transaction isn't going to eat up more gas, then it won't. Like you always get the best gas limit possible that is the contract, the code that you're running, is my understanding, having talked to an expert. And but I still don't like to press buttons when it says this transaction is going to cost you $250 in gas. And a lot of times I don't keep $250 in gas in like wallets that I'm using to explore. So it's that step is actually missing in these instructions. If you're going to create your vault on Ethereum and mint your Matty tokens, then you got to know to change the gas limit to like 300,000. It's going to suggest the gas limit should be like 30 million or something. Yeah, that sounds right. So it's like 2 zeros. It's like a factor of 100 greater. So, yeah, I don't know if the guy who asked that question on Twitter is watching right now, but I'm going to post about it here soon. But read this entire post on Maddie Token. If you sacrificed, it gives you the step-by-step, even for somebody who maybe doesn't know that much about crypto. I've like, you know, I'm out here reminding people what what MetaMask is. Okay. So I feel like the instructions are pretty good. And oh, here's something cool. Whether you sacrifice for Maddie or not, how can you use Twitter better? Oh, did you know that you can create a link that has multiple search terms embedded in it so that it can pull up every time I've mentioned Maddie Token? So it can give you a list of all the posts I've ever made about it. That's what this tweet is here, or this link. And so let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. So if I click on this link, it is going to bring up a Twitter search with the exact right syntax to be able to say tweets from Maddie ALLin that are organized by latest that mention Maddie Token, or unfortunately, there were a couple tweets where I didn't put the words Maddie and token next to each other. And so in those tweets, in order to get them to come up, we had to add the search term or Maddie from, or quote 2024 in my DeLorean. So instead of making people like copy and paste all that or like whatever, you can go back to this. You can go to this tweet that I just made, and at the bottom of it, there's a link that will bring up, I believe, all of the tweets I've ever made about Maddie Token. And you can educate yourself to a great degree. Even if you're not in Maddie Token, this might help you understand Pulse Chain better. It might help you understand what's possible in the Richard Heart ecosystem, what the OA might want to do someday, or it could be planning to do. There's really a lot here. So for all the hate that this has gotten me, it's been worth it just to educate myself. And that's saying a lot, because Eric Wall was trolling me today that Hexicans canceled me. Of course, that's not true, but I have gotten a lot of hate for for using my freedom to transact. So, oh, here's a $20 super chat from Derek Lester. Thank you. Thanks, Maddie, for what you do. We're blessed to wake up and fight another day. All will be well in the end. If it's not well, it's not the end. I love that. What a positive message. I dig it. Thank you again for the $20 super chat. That will help to secure another $20 of Pulse Chain at these lows as I go down with the ship. Who believes the hardest? Great question. We're blessed to have a stand-up guy like you in the community. Thanks for everything you do. Hey, appreciate the positivity. That's well needed. So I've taught you how to use Twitter in a new way. So you could come to this tweet that I made today, and you could edit the search terms, and you could say, instead of from at Maddie ALLin, you could put from at Richard Hart Win. And then as the search terms, you could put, what do we want to know if Richard, let's say called the top or, twerk, right? And, now when we hit enter, Twitter is going to do the job to give us the search term in a nice link. And so now I can copy the link and I can paste it in the live stream chat here. And that will take anybody who clicks on that link to Richard Hart tweets that are sorted by latest that mention I called the top on the day or twerk. Let's see if it gave us what we wanted. Yep. April 8th. So it's been since April 18th that Richard has said, I called the top. That's a while. What? April, May, June, July. It's been 4 months and some change since Richard said he called the top. All right. What else? Another one. Oh, this is below the fold. Oh, when I called the top. There we go. Let's just look for twerk. Proof of twerk. There you go. There's only one tweet. There it is. So, knowing how to search Twitter better, that's helpful to everybody because now you will have better access to all of the financial information in the world that we care about. I'm sure you've discussed it before. Can a person add existing HEX stakes to your vault? So you're asking about timepays.me, which allows you to pay your future self using any ERC or PRC20 token or Pulse Chain or Ethereum. So the only way that you can add a HEX stake to your TimePaysMe vault and time lock it is if it's a Deci or if it's a Maximus DAO token. So for example, I can take Deci, and I've done this. You can take liquid Deci and you can lock it in TimePaysMe on a drip, which is like a continuous staking ladder, or as a hard lock, or as a behavior lock to motivate yourself to do a healthy behavior. You can do that for any amount of time in between a week and 55 years. And so I do have one T-share that's a Deci perpetual. So it's a 10-year perpetual HEX stake that I did one T-share for 55 years. I did like a couple $100 of Deci locked for 20 years. And I put it on a physical coin and I gave it to Professor Lamont Black and Kelly Richmond Pope when I met them in person. So that's kind of cool. So you can gift people a stake that is dripping out for more than 15 years. But you cannot take your native HEX stakes that you've already created and put them into TimePaysMe, unfortunately. HEX, there it is. Yeah, so everybody who sacrificed for the freedom to sign has the opportunity to go play with TimePaysMe because that's the only way to claim Maddie token from Pulse Chain on the Ethereum network. And it's kind of like you're claiming it, but it's kind of like you're minting it. It's a weird situation. But it's most notable to say that you don't have access to it until you create the vault because it's been sent to an address that you will control in the future. So you're actually, so you can actually send tokens to an address that you will control in the future, but you currently don't control. So have fun with that if you're a tax expert or something, but boom. Mr. Solano found out about HEX from a hooker. No lie. That's crazy. I did not find out about HEX from a hooker. I found out about HEX by stumbling upon Richard on YouTube when he was saying that HEX was going to launch anytime, like 2 more weeks. He said, keep checking back every week or two. He was on a Bitcoin maxi show, and that's all. I was a Bitcoin maximalist, but I was just starting to venture into altcoins if they had a free claim. So I was only interested in tokens or coins that were given for free to Bitcoin holders. And, you know, I remember about a month or something after I found HEX and Richard and everything, I remember thinking and looking back and being like, wow, if I hadn't been bored at that 1 minute after I'd made dinner when I got home from like being a therapist, like if I had one other thing to do, I would have missed that video and I never would have found HEX, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, it was right here on YouTube. Yeah, my pleasure on timepays.me. And there's also another feature of timepays.me is you can set up a second seed phrase. So if you get hacked or if you press the wrong button and your money gets taken, you can undo the hack as long as you've set up the second seed phrase ahead of time. It's like a second password to fall back on in case somebody tries to move your funds. You have to be the one to like catch the person stealing your funds, but you have like 7 days to undo the hack. And there's a tutorial thread on Twitter. So it's just x.com/timepaysme. And then pinned right there, there's a tutorial on how to set up your second seed phrase to be able to undo a hack with timepaysme. PX isn't dead. Money Gang Crypto in the house. What's up, dude? Appreciate all the stuff you guys are doing with the 9-inch and Twitter Spaces and influencing people, letting people know that PX isn't dead. It's incentive token is the real HEX. Now we're talking. You know, they both pay about 30% APY if you time lock long enough. And they both have a little bit of impermanent loss in terms of like, you know, you usually buy HEX with like dollars, and then you know, and then the question is whether it's going to still be worth any dollars when the stake ends. But yeah, I really like Ink. I've gone through and started farming with almost all of my Pulse and PulseX and Ink, which is really like that's 90, at least 90 or 95% of my liquid bag is somewhere in there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's like 80% of my entire liquid net worth in crypto is farming right now. So I'm getting to be a farming maximalist. I just think if we have a year of sideways, or even if we go up only, or if we keep going down only, I want to be earning more incentive token. Like, I've seen the light, and that I don't know if it's trustless yield, but it's yield nonetheless. And it's, you know, I trust it enough. So I wish I would have woken up to this farming in the beginning, but then again, you know, what can you do? Mitch Ray interview got me here. It says lazy hexagon, probably referring to when you first heard about HEX. Chris says, I swear I knew about HEX in 2018 before it came out. Remember seeing the ticker on CoinMarketCap. I was intrigued and thought I'll get back to it. Well, here you are. But then a couple years later, I happened upon HEX again, and then realized HEX didn't even exist when I thought I knew of it. Yeah. Well, here we are. And it's really incredible to see how the community stuck together, even if it is dead. And for those of you who are just joining now, I showed an article earlier that said that Hex was dead. It was pronounced dead on January 14th, 2020. Um, when it was up a 2x from its all-time low at 3 zeros and a 1. So if it was dead then, it's got to be dead now. The only difference is when it was dead the first time, it then went up 5,000x. So, you know, if we could only be so lucky as to be sure that X is dead this time, maybe we'll get another 5,000x. Now people are getting upset that somebody said ink is the real hex. Hey, all the liquidity is bonded together anyway. I'm into all of it. I don't know what my liquid bag is compared to my hex bag, but I would still say my time locked hex bag is probably much bigger. Because I staked hard. My average stake length is over 10 years. I have a staking ladder. I have hex coming out every year on my birthday, but I did not spread it evenly. Let's say that much. T Laws Fitness. I've personally never been in a bull market with hex. Only ever seen it go down, but I still believe. Maddie, why are the hex people so floppy and soft-minded? I don't get it. Well, that's a great question. I would say that that the people who believed the hardest watched the Tuesday night show and heard a lot of really cool theories about why hex would continue to be decorrelated from the rest of crypto. And so there was a really strong belief. Like one of my best friends took a loan on his house and bought at like a quarter of a dollar. Not a quarter of a penny, a quarter of a dollar. So all of the people who believe the most, all of the people who were here from the beginning or joined along the way, a lot of us had a belief that hex would never go back below 5 cents. It would never go back below a penny. It would never go below 10 cents, 20 cents, right? We really thought that it would perform differently in a bear market than anything else that had come before it. And so the people who believed the hardest and kept buying at 20 cents and 30 cents and 10 cents, they are now quote unquote wrecked. And I think a lot of people, they got into euphoria and sudden wealth syndrome. They they didn't take profits at the top like they should have. And like we preached, we told people dollar cost average in, dollar cost average out. There were a lot of people who believed like, hey, I'm going to keep working, but they see a number on a screen and now that number is 100 times lower. And so I think people got like an emotional attachment to the number on the screen, even though it was time locked and it wasn't something they had access to now. They thought to themselves, well, at least everybody is sure that hex will still be at least 10 cents, for the next 4 years. It's going to outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum in the bear market, etc. So I think, and then, the community has turned on itself. There's a lot more negativity and like bullying and hate from people who bought the top and didn't get the idea of delayed gratification. And even if you do understand delayed gratification, it's okay to still be bummed out when your hard work went in and now you don't have much to show for it. But that's how it goes. And again, the idea that for people who thought that they were set for life and now they have to go back to work, now they have to be productive, now they have to sell everything they own in order to try to buy the bottom, like that's a personal choice. It's not financial advice. I'm selling a car. I'm selling my prized currency collection that has 2x. I will point out, I've gotten a 2x on my $100 trillion bills from Zimbabwe since late 2019. And what did Ethereum do in that time? I went up 10x. So, at some point you have to figure out, like, crypto is here to stay. You can't outperform crypto in anything if you pick the right one and you wait long enough. And the jury is still out to see whether this is the right one for people who didn't sell. And but that's how it's designed. HEX is designed to reward the people who are long-term. And if that doesn't work out, it will be a huge failure. And I've even said to Adam Stokes on his channel and on this channel as well, if HEX does not do a new all-time high in this cycle, I will consider it a failure. So, clock's ticking. But then again, when I go back and look at the timeline of past cycles, like, it didn't look so good at first. When HEX came out, it went down only. It went down from 1/3 of a penny all the way to like 5/10,000ths of a dollar. Because if it did a 10,000x, something like that, it was 0.00005, right? From 1/3 of a penny. Crushed. Wrecked. Down almost 100x. So if you were day one FOMO, you got 100x worse price than somebody who bought on day 33 or 34. So, unfortunately, this downturn has not happened as quick as that. It wasn't just like a month and now, boom, we're going up 2x, the next day. And then we go up another 5,000x, right? But we'll see what it does. I'm doing short-term rolling stakes on Ethereum, says Chris. There you go. Cool. When was the last time you added a native HEX stake to the ladder? Look, I've been buying Deci so hard. I'm not interested in native stakes at the moment. I staked my entire life savings last cycle, and now you want to give me 60 to 70% off 10-year stakes? Like, I understand longer pays better, but at some point, these Deci stakes become cheaper than getting a 15-year stake. Like, I'm not exactly sure what the math is, but we should calculate it sometime. And then you have the chance to go into a premium and you have a chance to sell. And if you're impatient, then you might sell at a further discount. And if you're patient, you might sell at a premium. Like, until this weak Deci market is rejuvenated, I find it really hard to believe that HEX is going to start going up. Usually the discounts are a leading indicator. Okay. And now you guys have pushed me into severe alpha territory because, you've been asking great questions and I guess we've already blocked all the haters. So, at some point, there's a big difference between a 15-year stake and a 10-year stake in terms of the amount of compound interest that you're getting and like the T-share rate that you're getting. But what I'm saying is I'm getting a T-share rate from almost 2 years ago. No, well, 2022. November 2022? A year and a half ago? Yeah. And I'm earning all that interest as well that's already been, so I'm getting a lower T-share rate and I'm accruing HEX every day. I can pull up the statistics on like this crazy Desi thesis that I have. I got some notes here. Here we go. So I'm going to drop the contract address here for Desi. I should have dropped that as a link because you're not going to be able to do much with that on YouTube. And I do pay attention to that kind of stuff because I'm a YouTube consumer as well. All right. So I'm going to drop this as a link so you guys can click on it and then actually copy the contract address if you're interested in Desi. All right. So November 10th, 2022, the price of HEX was 3.4 cents. The T-share rate was 25,043. 25,043. T-share rate today is 36,500. The amount of Deci that you need today and every day ever to have the equivalent of one T-share is 7,806 Deci. So for every 7,806 Deci, you are earning daily shares earning. It's accruing. The I've got the Hex Scout link here. So you can see like all the statistics on what's been accrued. The principal is 565 HEX. And at maturity, that for the 72,000 T-shares that were created, it'll be worth 2.3 billion HEX. When I calculated this back on July 11th, the amount of HEX that had been accrued was 56% more HEX than a 1-to-1 ratio would suggest, which means that there's been 320 million accrued. It's 187 million HEX per year. And the principal is, of course, like I said, 566 million. So the APY that you're getting on that is 33.2%. And there's like there were like, back when I checked this, there was $103,000 worth of Deci, 22 million Deci at the time for sale on PHUX, and 16 million Deci for sale on 9mm V3 at 76K. But I've found the best rate is from Pateas.io. And so that's where I go to get it. Yeah. So very, very cool. And depending on your slippage, for about 30 to 35 or 40K dollars, you can get a dolphin position in PX through Desi. You can get, so that means, let's just take 35K. That means you can get a squid for 3,500. You could get a turtle for $350. Now, remember, I invented a metric to help you understand what share of the compound interest you get, not just your share of the T shares, which is what the league system does. But so on hexfire.io, you can go and you can plug in all your addresses. You just copy paste from your Excel spreadsheet all your wallet addresses, and it will calculate for you what your rank is and what your league is based on T-share years. So it's not just counting how many T-shares you have, but it's counting how many years you have those T-shares for. Because everybody who's a dolphin now and they staked short and they staked for 5 years, they're not going to be a dolphin in 6 years. And when they restake, the odds are they're never going to get their status back if they were like a low level dolphin. Whereas a different dolphin could have the same number of T-shares today, but they time locked for 10 years or 15 years. And now they have not only 3 times as much interest coming to them, but they have a compound function on that. And because the T-share rate goes up. And somebody who, and so longer pays better. Somebody who does a 5-year and then restakes and then does another 5-year and then restakes is going to be severely less. And so the best metric that we have for really measuring what your share is of like the future supply of HEX, the future compound interest, is I think Crispy Man called it the ALLin indicator or something, but I know you can find it on hexfire.io. Hopefully it's not in the paid section. I'm not sure I can navigate to it right away, but check it out. The ALLin indicator. So yeah, my last native hex stake, man, until that Deci discount goes away, I don't know. Or maybe I'll do the math, or maybe I'll just want to get on the native stake board for 2039. But probably, yeah, I want to say I've done a lot of Deci. I don't think in June I staked. So it would have been June of the year before when I made my last native hex stake. And what the prices then were about the same or higher. Who all had the chance to buy Bitcoin at $200 or under and said, who's going to? But the fake internet crap, I wouldn't. I need to go back in time and kick my own ass. Well, that's what the DeLorean is for. Haven't sold that yet, but just once these prices keep dipping, we're gonna go for it. No guarantees of strong hands on the DeLorean when we go 50% lower. Personally, covered call ETFs have really gotten big lately, and the yield is better and the risk is less. Look at something like XDTE, pays weekly APY. Yeah, I don't like getting liquidated though. I don't like longs and shorts and straddles and all this stuff. But yeah, maybe that works out for somebody. I did a tweet before, and now that you know how to search tweets better, you can find it. And it's like explaining how I did take a little bit of Roth IRA money and put it into Grayscale Ethereum, ETH back when it was at a 50% discount at the end of 2022. So I outperformed Ethereum by 2x when it hit parity, and that's tax free. So that's like another 30% better. And that's what I'm seeing with Desi right now. It's like the play of the cycle. But then you've got like PulseX and Ink Farm. I mean, that could also be the play. Or hey, if everybody dumps their Matty token and people get to buy it at 1/10 of a penny. I think I calculated, did I tweet this? I think I calculated if it goes to 1/10 of a penny and somebody buys it there, which would require some dumpage, but and then it goes to $20, that's a 20,000x. So that is also something I would look out for. Right now it's about $1.30, but the amount of liquidity that's there is only like 500 tokens worth. And the amount that was mintable to the freedom to sign address participants is like 45,000 tokens. So doesn't take much dumpage to get the number because it's about $5,000, about 4,000, 3,700, somewhere around there. Will push the price of Matty token up to $20 to the sell wall, and the same amount of money, so 4K sold, would push it close to zero. Can't go to zero because of the X times Y equals K constant product formula that makes up the Uniswap V2 automated market maker smart contract that enables decentralized exchange, which is, that's so crypto, that's so cyberpunk. But yeah, so like you're trying to get a 30% gain, beautiful. Some of us, we're praying for the old 20,000x, which is 2,000,000%. But hey, no promises, no guarantees, no expectations, and not financial advice. Once the SEC case is resolved, then it will go up fast. Yeah, like what? The Telegram founder gets arrested and the price only goes down 15%. Did you see what he got arrested for? Of course, they were fake charges, I'd assume, but still, we went down a lot with just a civil $13 million thing. So that tells me that it wasn't just the SEC case that pulled us down. It was transferring people being able to sell the top into the sacrifice and then dissipating that financial energy. Probably a big factor of why we haven't taken off yet. And we'll see. I don't know how to do the math on that. Maybe that's something I need to think about. Maybe I need to make a note to myself. How low with sacrificing at the top? That's not a quick math thing. That's like bang my head against the wall for 2 days and have a eureka moment. Okay. ERP got hit with a lawsuit and didn't make a new all-time high last cycle. Could have happened with us Hexicans, just saying. Well, I will pronounce Hex dead on December 31st, 2025. If we have not made a new all-time high. If Bitcoin's over 100K or Ethereum's over 10K. Yeah. Inc. is the only one not in the RH lawsuit. Excellent point. LFG, let's go. Aliens or angels. Kin went up 20,000% from the bottom after it settled with the SEC. That can happen for HEX too. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool example. The old 2000X. Not bad. No, 200X. 20,000%. Quick math, right? 200 times 100 is 20,000. Not too shabby. Hey, I would settle for a 10X. But I think we're going to do a 95X. If you twist my arm on it. But I will upwardsly revise my number if we go much lower. Because like Pulse Chain is about at its low from like January. Pulse X is not at its low. It's like 60% higher or something. Like Inc is 300% higher. So my math is based on 5% of SAC funds were deployed and we got a 5X. But with Inc, you got a 10X. With Pulse X, you got more than a 5X. So maybe my math holds up at these prices. If we go lower, if we go down another 50%, if Pulse goes down to 0.00015, yeah, I'm going to lose my mind, first of all. And then I'd be predicting a 200X. Don't make me do the math. Don't make me do the math on what it would take for us to get a 10,000X. I don't. No, I don't want to do that. I think we would have to go down 5 times lower. No, that's only 1,000X. Yeah, I think. Well, no, here. Easy math. Quick math, you guys. If I'm predicting we're going to go up 100X, but we need to go up 10,000X, then we need to go down 100X. We're going to go up 10,000X. How do you like that quick math? I'm very confident because I've done the math on HEX. HEX has gone down 100X and it's still up 100X. And from the bottom, we went up 10,000X. There you go. Told you not to make me do it. Pulse Chain was made for HEX. HEX is the only Nobel Prize worthy token out of the 4 RH tickers. New all-time high, just saying. I want to believe that theoretical buyer in our minds who buys lower than yourself. It's me. It's me looking at myself in the mirror. I'm happy I started buying HEX at 22 cents on the way down because if I hadn't, I never would have known about HEX. Still buying, staking, HEX, 100% staked, and farming. I believe DCing wins. Mr. Max, respect. Appreciate it. What's up, Taurus? Paul Sachs. I'm also a fan of the Desi discount. At least it has LP compared to the other Maxi tokens. Facts. Do you get Hedron and Calm with Desi? No. Did your buddy with the house loan stake 5555? No. Because he has to pay it back. And the interest is eating him alive. Sucks. And it's not the guy in the movie. That guy got a great deal because he sacrificed as a part of a group. And so he got this like unfair 2.5x multiplier. Can you briefly explain the Deci thesis? It's a 10-year stake that's been run through a smart contract. So it's liquid. And so if you buy it, you can't buy too much of it. Otherwise you push the price against yourself because of like how much liquidity there is. There's much less liquidity than with like HEX. But the thesis is it's undervalued and it can go to a premium. And so you might even notice that the freedom to sign address that's been doing yield farming of PulseX and Inc. has also made a position that has now been achieved in the Deci system to achieve the status of Dolphin by acquiring. It's kind of like when Michael Saylor kept bragging, like, oh, like MicroStrategy has acquired this many more Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. Well, the freedom to sign address has acquired more T-shares and over 900 of them, in fact, through Deci. So the Deci thesis, I mean, for a lot of you guys who have bigger bags, you can't buy Maddie token and get a good deal. But you could copy trade the strategy and you could hold your own keys. Of course, that's what crypto is not your keys, not your coins. And that's important to remember. But yeah, you could copy trade. You could be farming PulseX and Inc. And then you could take the Inc yield and you could rotate it into Deci. And so you're earning a compound 33.2% APY plus the discount on top of your 25 or 30% APY that's paid in Inc. So you're just compounding on top of your discount. It's a beautiful strategy. So again, if people did not hate on me so much, maybe you would have already heard through the noise what the Maddie token is trying to do is to teach you something. It's not trying to get you to buy anything. You don't have to buy Maddie for the price to go to $20. You don't have to do anything. But yeah, all I'm going to say is some people would imagine that there is a discount and a premium with Maddie token compared to what the market or someone else might value it at. But it could also go to zero and stay there. So that's why copy trading is like the best move, unless it goes to 1/10 of a penny and you want to throw some dust at it to see if you can get a 20,000x, which again, I didn't make Maddie token, so don't come crying to me. But yeah, the Deci thesis is been refined through studying the freedom to sign address. Loose RH quote, why can't PLS, I think you mean, do a 14,000x and HEX do another 10,000x or a million-x? Yeah, he didn't say how much it was going to go down first, though. That's the hidden part. How do I best use shorter stakes of HEX below 10 years before 7? You can stake for like 6 months. I think my first stake was like a couple weeks, maybe, because I wanted to like understand the system. I wanted to see how it worked. And I think that first stake that I made, I think I like got busy with something else and it like bled out for, I think I was like a couple weeks late after the 2-week grace period. So if you stake, you have to come back and unstake when you say you will. Otherwise, after 2 weeks, you start losing 1% a week. So set the terms you can honor and honor the terms that you set. But that's the full range, is like somebody can stake for 2 days. You can stake for a year, you can stake for 6 months, like whatever you want. And there's a front end that me and my developer made called go.tshare.app, and it gives you a drop down of like a bunch of different choices of like how long you can stake that are common. I'm trying to look behind my camera so I can open a new tab here. Go.tshare.app. It's going to make me connect my wallet. So under deploy hex miner, the amount of time, the choices that it gives you just as a shortcut, you can still use any number of days up to 5,555, but it says like 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and max 15 years, 11 weeks. The only people that could be making money selling at these prices are hex buyers 4 years ago. Why is so many selling and losing cash? Because people earned more hex, and there are some really big players that earned hundreds of millions of hex. But yeah, I think it's dumb when people sell so low, but hey, go ahead and let them sell low, and then when it goes higher, they don't have any to sell. Do you think PLS will be listed on a central exchange, or do we even need that? Also, PLSX is much better than Unitoken. It is much better than Unitoken because it takes the swap fee and does a buy and burn with it, which Uniswap doesn't do. And it's better than Binance because it does it without a middleman. Do we need a centralized exchange? Well, Hex did a 10,000x without one, but I would like to have one. I forgot a water. That never happens. I also never stream for like an hour and 22 minutes on Hex Therapy Live lately, but now I do because you guys are asking so many great questions. Hex is alive for all the true believers, says Crypto Truth. Hex is the real deal. Sci-Vive, always. Everyone read 15 Ways to Fix the World. Central exchanges will buy on the way up. Let's do it. Salud, all in as usual. There you go. So we covered a lot today. It would be worth rewinding because there was a lot of great alpha dropped that I'm not hearing anywhere else. And I'm listening to all the streams, guys. So there you go. Remember, the PLS 369 conference is not the same as the pulsechainconference.com. Pulsechainconference.com is online and I run it. And the PLS 369 in-person conference is put on by Discourse Syndicate and crew. So, but you know, the more the merrier, and I support them. I just want them to get full credit and want their, you know, like in Ethereum, you got consensus, you got permissionless, you got the Ethereum conference. In Bitcoin, you got the Bitcoin conference, you got Token 2049, you got all these different ones, right? So names matter, reputations matter, and I trust this group that's putting on the in-person conference, but there have been in-person conferences put on before that were put on by bad actors and people who literally robbed the community blind. So just saying, it is what it is. Yo, Casey, I was thinking about you the other day. I just was out visiting some family in Vegas. And thank you for the $20 super chat. Casey says, I've been walking for 1,600 miles this year, 100% staked, dollar cost averaging every day at 0.0000 UTC in HEX. Staking will always give you the best price every day. High or low, learn. Hey, I love it. That's a really positive message. And thank you for the super chat. I'm glad to hear from you. Glad to hear that your hiking is going well. And it's much more than that, really. It's the journey of a lifetime. Maddie, why did you rug your own coin? I did not. The liquidity was reduced in order to make it more possible for something better to happen and for the funds to be used better. I would consider a rug if somebody like cashed out the money or whatever. But in the first place, liquidity is not your money. When you swap, so when we go to like the website, if we go to the website, pulsex.com, okay, and we look at, of course, we have to click on IPFS first. But like this is a really basic thing that you guys can learn and stop being so ignorant. When I go to the trade menu, there's two items on the trade menu. So one type of trade is an exchange. Okay, that's when you swap one token for another. Another type of trade is liquidity. So when somebody exchanges something, that means that they don't own what they gave, what they swapped. So like when I go buy a burger, I don't get to go back after I eat it and ask for the money back, right? Because I didn't exchange. I bought something. When you buy a car or when you buy anything really, and you have a final transaction, like an irreversible transaction, that means you don't own both sides of the trade. It's not like you can sit there with your hamburger and like wait and see, like, you know, you go into Subway and you buy the last sandwich that they're going to make for the night. And then somebody comes in after you and you turn around and double the price. You don't get to do that. Well, maybe you do. But the point is that when you swap one token for another, you don't own the liquidity. The liquidity is provided to you by somebody who owns those tokens that you swapped. And that's really important because, I mean, just for the fundamental basic understanding of what is money and like how does crypto work and everything is like it's pretty simple. But I think a lot of people have been burned in crypto where the liquidity goes to zero and then the token price goes to zero and then it's over. With Maddie token, which I did not create, it was named after me. Somebody else created it. I believe by looking on chain that you can see none of the money has left the chain. It's yield farming, and it's even a little bit of it has been used to buy back the token. And so, yeah, I would just say anybody who's too dumb to understand what's going on here, like all you have to do is look at the price of Maddie token, which when the liquidity was reduced, that was at the point when trading, there was no volume for 3 days. So it's kind of like when Jesus died and was dead for 3 days and then came back to life. When the liquidity was reduced, the price of the token actually then went up to $9 and there was more volume. There was more volume than, all right, here. So here's the interesting thing that we learned that is mega alpha is, so you have much higher slippage and you would think that that's a bad thing for the people who want to sell, but it turned out that all the people hating on it caused so many new buyers to come in that there was more buying than selling. And so, the people who sold, even though they had more slippage, got to sell at a higher price than when the liquidity was high and the token price was $1.14. Now the price went up to $2, $3, $4. And because there were more buyers than sellers, the people who were selling, even though they experienced extreme slippage, were able to sell like $15,000 at a higher price than they would have gotten when the liquidity was lower. So everybody who wanted to sell got to sell at a higher price because of the lower liquidity. And so that's not what you see in a rug pull. In a rug pull, people leave and the value goes to zero and it stays there. In this case, the value ended up being higher, which is something that I kind of predicted. Like I kind of knew that it might work that way, but I didn't really know. So, so that's fascinating that, that the reason we saw that is because the buyers were experiencing the same amount of slippage as the sellers because of the, X times Y equals K constant product formula. And so because there were more buyers than sellers, the buyers were paying a higher price than they would have if there was higher liquidity. So people who are throwing mud at me and stuff, like, you know, at the beginning, you really helped me to do all the write-ups and do all the thinking and the block analysis and everything to be able to prove, you got me fired up to prove that people got a better deal when there was less liquidity. Now that's not very common. That's very uncommon, but it's provable and it's on chain. And so you can't argue with math that's on chain. Now I've been warning people for a while not to buy Maddie, and I've told people that I think it could drop very close to zero now that there's been, now that people are able to mint about about half of the supply. So like basically the supply is 2x now, because originally there was 88,000 tokens, then half that was removed from the liquidity. Now what's been removed in Maddie token has been sent to the freedom to sign sacrificers, kind of like they're able to mint it, whatever. We don't have good words for like people being able to create a vault that for tokens existing in a vault that people will be able to create anytime in the future that they want based on their public address. So, you know, people had plenty of time to sell. People had 7 days from the time the freedom to sign tokens could be moved. The traders had 7 days warning, and they didn't sell that much because they were already done selling, because they already sold on the way up to $9 from $1.14 when the liquidity was reduced. So like there was probably $40,000 worth of volume, and like not all of that was at $1.14, but it was almost like if it was at $1.14, it would have been the entire user circulating supply. So it would be like if everybody who owned HEX got a chance to sell, that's not even possible because the liquidity in HEX is, I think, like 2.5%. You'll have to go back and look at my tweets where I analyze this over the past like 3 months. But the amount of liquidity that is there now in Maddie token is equal to the amount of liquidity like a shark is able to sell in Maddie with the same slippage of 10% as a shark in HEX is able to sell for 10% slippage. So the fact that like a Poseidon and Maddie could like dump the price, that's the same in HEX. Like it's the same amount of liquidity that's being provided. So the fact that there was an insanely high amount of liquidity, that there was 10 times, or at the beginning there was 100 times more liquidity, that was going to keep the price down for too long. That was counterproductive. And so, as you can tell, I put a lot of thought into this, and I've got the receipts. So people who want to come at me and throw mud, they're going to get blocked. People who have good questions and want to understand crypto deeper are going to be the ones that are going to learn the most. And then they're going to be able to take that information, even if they don't have anything to do with the Maddie token, they can take that information and they can apply it to the rest of crypto. They can learn how to understand what the ratio is of like coins and liquidity versus the user circulating supply versus the total supply. And then you can make more informed decisions about what you think is going to happen with the RH ecosystem, with the RH tickers in particular. What's the sacrifice address going to do? What's the game theory there? How could things be optimized? So, if you don't want to understand that, you don't have to pay attention. But people who are criticizing and hating will be blocked because I don't want those people to get the greatest education, the greatest gains for free from me. Like, so see, you caught me on a day when people were asking good questions. So you get a good answer for that one, even though normally I'd just click the block button and ignore it. Low liquidity makes price move fast both ways. Yeah. And we have here in the tweets, we have like here we go. Okay. I'm going back to the search terms. Here we go. I've got the chart right here of, this is how much buy pressure and sell pressure is required to move the Maddie price when you start at $1.14 and the amount of liquidity is around $2,500. And so this is a living example of the X times Y equals K constant product formula that every single token, the price of every crypto on a decentralized exchange operates on this formula with different buy pressure numbers corresponding to different price numbers. But if we look at the price of Maddie going between basically $1 and $20, we can see that it takes in between $3,500 and $4,000, again, with the price of Maddie starting at $1.14 and the amount of liquidity being approximately $2,500 that I put into this equation. It only takes $3,700 to push the price to $20. It only takes about $3,000 to push the price to $14. And so what we see here, and then you can just reverse it and you can say, how much does it take to send it from $14 down to $1.14? $3,000. How much does it take? How much sell pressure is required to go from, $10 close to zero? It's like $2,500. But the most important lesson is that not only did people get a better deal when they were selling because there were more buyers than sellers during the shift to extremely low liquidity compared to before, which is still the same amount of liquidity that HEX has. The thing to remember is that there are no longer 20,000 Maddie tokens for sale at $1. There are only, like 10 or 100 or something. Like so the ability for, so like Hans has a theory that like maybe the freedom to sign sacrifice address that's farming will use the farming funds to buy back all the Maddie tokens at $20. And so that could happen, and that's no expectations, and it's not your money. And you might imagine that could happen much sooner if there's not 20,000 tokens for sale at $1. If those got bought by anybody. It doesn't have to be the Freedom Design farm. It could be bought by anybody. If anybody wanted to come in and buy those for $20, it would take $500,000 more or something to, it would take $400,000 more to buy up those 20,000 Maddie tokens for $1 that people were able to buy for $1. So lowering the liquidity was the best, not only for the long term, but for the short term, it turned out. And again, the point is not for you to buy a Maddie token. The point is for you to understand crypto, not your keys, not your coins. You swapped, not your liquidity. Unless you put the liquidity in, it's not yours. And then understanding how liquidity is related to price and how the equations work. I don't know where else you're learning this for free. I don't know. But I've been going for an hour and 41 minutes, and you guys have done such a great job of asking questions and being supportive. You know, you got me longer than 5 minutes tonight. You got me longer than 30 minutes tonight. So there you go. Hit the like and subscribe button. Mr. Max says, now it's back to Maddie school to learn about Maddie coins. That's right. Just learn about crypto, if nothing else. Crypto's where it's at. So thanks to both of the people that did super chats today, Derek and Casey. And thanks to everybody else for tuning in and contributing with your views and likes and all that good kind of stuff. I've now 76 watching on YouTube, 327 on X, and typically hundreds or low thousands on the replay. With that being said, I'm live every Tuesday and Thursday night, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 on the West Coast, and you know, other times all around the world. So what else? What else do we have to look forward to? We have Game Theory Gang on Tuesday. Kareem might be coming back home to the United States today or tomorrow. So that's a beautiful thing. I will be releasing my new product, physical crypto coins that allow you, it's the easiest way to onboard to Pulse Chain with a physical coin in your hand and an instruction booklet. It's the easiest way to get a family or friend into Pulse Chain, or to do it yourself, or to learn about private keys. Also very cool. So my new product, I've been working on it for a couple months at least, and they are finishing the production now. So we're going to start selling those. I hope in the next week we'll have orders for people to buy those. And so that's something to look forward to. You're a hero. Thank you. Appreciate it. Condor. Thank you. Yeah. Get one as a collectible. There's only 1,000 or less because they minted like 50 like pre-editions, but yeah, there's only ever going to be 1,000 of these first edition coins. So that it'll certainly be a collectible. Yeah. Looking forward to it. So with that being said, hope you all take care of yourselves. Whether HEX is dead or not is yet to be seen, but hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
It's from Maddie ALLin of HEX Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research. Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome. There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man. Maddie ALLin's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like he helps heal people.